Hello and welcome to Work in the Verse. My name is Thor, and since you clicked on this video, I'm guessing you might be at least a little bit curious what the MetaConnect experience was like in virtual reality. For my takeaways on the event's content, be sure to watch our video, 5 Takeaways from MetaConnect 2022. Instead of being in Horizon workrooms, I'm coming straight from Horizon Worlds, and this is where the highly scripted event took place. If you've watched our other videos, you'll also notice that my avatar looks a little more refined. I talk about avatar differences in our YouTube short, Horizon Worlds and Horizon Workrooms avatars. Check it out so you can get a better view of the differences. So in years past, MetaConnect is about what they've been up to since the last event, where they're at today, any new technology that will be available from software to hardware, and what they're working on going forwards. Each year brings surprises from what they announce, what they don't announce, and how they announce it. This felt like a very low-key event compared to last year. More on that in What's the Meta with Quest Pro, because I have a good inkling as to why. The past 2 Connect events have been all pre-recorded, and what an undertaking that must be. The transitions, side-by-sides with speakers, and so on were done quite well with some forced dialogue that was a bit cringeworthy, but nothing that kept you from moving forwards with the event. Being in virtual reality is more than just watching a streaming video, even though for the most part it was the same content. Like being at an event in person, you have to travel to get to the venue. Whether it be walking or teleporting, there's an effort that makes you feel part of the event. Once there, you get to select your seat. It's like Southwest Airlines in the US. It's a first come, first served basis. There's no assigned seating. The good thing is, if you don't like your seat, no worries. You can move about. Not bad at all. At one point, Mark Zuckerberg said this.
So if you're joining us in VR, hold tight and I'll see you in a sec.
And that's where the experience changed for me. What one saw watching the streaming event felt very flat, while in person it truly was a different experience.
Hey, we're here together in Horizon, and this is the first time that we've done this at Connect. And this is a preview of our next generation of avatars.
You won't be able to tell here, but there's a sense of depth and perspective that makes you feel like you're connected in the room. A good way of thinking about this is 2 people at a concert. The one who is taking it all in, and the other who is taking it in with their phone. They're both there, but the experience isn't the same. Hats off to the team for thinking about this experience through more than just being on camera, but what it takes to get there and leave. Unlike what one saw in the streamed event, you saw the presenters enter and exit. Now, I don't know about you, but when I was younger, I always wanted to know, where do they go when they leave the stage? What world am I not experiencing? Now, in the real world, there would be consequences if we did that, perhaps security coming through the doors to stop us or who knows what. Today, however, was my chance to take a risk. I'm going to go where no other avatar has gone before. But before we see what happens, there's a programmer's dilemma that comes straight from the Wizard of Oz. Do we let people see what's behind the curtain? Some say yes. Pull back the curtain and see what's behind it, and others who say, no, we can't do that. John Carmack talks more about this idea in the annual event he held, Carmack Unscripted. I have some thoughts on what John ruminates about, so check out our video. You'll hear about my Kevin Bacon 7 degrees of connection I have with him too. All right, come join me as we try and go through the same door where the presenter left the stage. Aw man, I'm back at the entrance. Neat shortcut, but no land of mystery. Speaking of events, here's where we get to see the potential of virtual reality. As we're watching, you can see that they're reconfiguring the auditorium on the fly. This was to set up the trailer for Among Us VR. Pretty cool and more engaging than just seeing the trailer. When I set out to cover MetaConnect, I wanted to do a man-on-the-street interview to get people's perspectives. I was ready to ask questions and get a perspective of others who were attending the way I was. Oh boy, did I fail miserably. I only talked to 2.5 people the entire time. Big shout out to Joe for taking a moment to talk with me. He put his life on the line because it was 1:00 a.m. his time and his fiance was sleeping. Never, ever wake up your significant other unless it's an emergency, right? All jokes aside, it was really impressive how far away we were geographically, but in the same space without any technology issues. So, There were supposedly hundreds, if not thousands, attending virtually, so it shouldn't have been a problem finding people to interview, right? Yes, but as you'll hear about my thoughts on Carmack, the technology of having lots of people in the same room at the same time isn't possible yet. Instead, there were probably 50 instances at the same location housing up to 25 people at a time. This automatically means less people to talk to, and most of the attendees were in mute mode, so they couldn't hear me and I couldn't hear them. So, are you curious about the half person I almost met? I'll have to admit, very embarrassing, but I'll share it with you anyways. I had just figured out how to take a virtual selfie at the event, and I saw somebody doing the same thing. I'm sure I shared my frustrations very elegantly with them when they said, "You're on mute." And then, just like that, they were gone. If only there was a persistent indicator to show I was muted. If you haven't done so, go ahead and like the video and subscribe. I look forward to hearing your thoughts on the future of virtual reality events. I think we have a ways to go beyond thinking, let's make it like the real world, before we see the real potential of virtual reality.